Being a concerned parent, Nadine Johnson recognized a missing element to the many children's books available today, and that is cultural diversity. The lack of cultural identity within early childhood reading, coupled with her understanding that literacy development is key, she has written a series of children's books entitled Last Night I Dreamt.
I was getting a little frustrated trying to find books for my son in the library that had an African American boy as the center of the stories, and he's around 4 years old. So I wanted to create something for children specifically in that age group. And the idea for this series pretty much came to me overnight. I woke up one morning with this idea in my head, and I wrote the skeleton for all 3 books in about a day or 2. Well, the books feature a boy and a girl who are African American, but there are other cultures represented in the stories, and it's a lesson that any child can learn. For example, in Last Night I Dreamt I Was a Doctor. The kids find themselves, their bedroom is turned into a doctor's office, and they're wearing doctor's coats with the stethoscope around their necks, and they are they look like doctors. So children are able to kind of see themselves in those roles. Books are a great way to introduce children to different cultures, different ways of living, and I think this book will benefit children of many different races and backgrounds.
For Ms. Johnson, self-publishing turned out to be the best avenue to seeing that her own dreams would come true.
I did a lot of research on the different ways to publish before I decided to self-publish my books. It seemed to be the best way for me to get it done and to get what I wanted out of the books. When I first decided to write the book, I wrote out the words, and I thought, okay, now I need to figure out how to go from words to a book. And so I said, okay, I have to get somebody to illustrate this book for me, And then I said, well, I'm a graphic designer. Why don't I just try and illustrate it myself? And so I sat down, and it just kind of flowed. And that surprised me because I've never really done anything like that before. I do it for other people, other companies, my clients, but I've never sat down and did anything for myself. So that was an enjoyable process for me to see that I could take something from start to finish, something of my own, and it came out beautifully. And I enjoy the reaction that I got from my son. He just lit up, his face lit up, because he saw me do it through the process. So he saw pages of it here and there, but when he saw the finished product, he picked it for story time that night, which was great, and he really focused in and enjoed the story. So that was also very rewarding for me. He's my #1 critic, and so far he's given me an A+. So.
Early childhood reading should support literacy development and not be complicated, dull, and too involved, thus allowing time for parents to interact more closely with the child.
The book, I wanted to be very colorful to catch the attention of children. I wanted it to be simple for kids to be able to pick up the words and start the reading process. So that's why I have all the text on one page and very short text so that they can pick up the word as you're reading it to them. So it's very important to have short, quick stories that they enjoy, but they can also read along with you and pick up the words. This allows parents to have interactions with their children. So it can build a bond between parent and child, or teacher and students, because teachers can actually use this to interact with their students as well. I also have another page called Fun Facts, and it lists several African American pioneers in the various fields. For example, in Last Night I Dreamt I Was a Teacher, there is a list of educators that were pioneers in the field of education. So parents and children are able to see that there's other successful teachers and doctors and musicians out there.
Out of love and caring for her own child's positive self-awareness, Nadine Johnson has designed a series of workshops for children, parents, and teachers.
It's called the I Am workshop. I am, therefore I can do anything. And it's teaching them positive words to believe in themselves. I am beautiful, I am talented, I am knowledgeable, I am interesting, I'm funny, things like that. Getting them used to thinking of themselves in a positive way at a young age. And that will help them go after their dreams and their goals in the future.
And even if you're not a parent or teacher, you too can support a child in reading by becoming a sponsor.
So what I did was created a sponsor program where anyone, whether you have kids or you don't have kids, can purchase the book at a discounted rate. And then I will send the books to different charitable organizations such as women's shelters, homeless shelters, areas where children are in need, hospitals, anywhere where there's a need for children's books, because those are the kids that we need to encourage to keep dreaming and keep believing that there is something out there for them. I'm really passionate about getting young kids to start the education process, getting parents to start reading to their children, getting teachers to start encouraging kids at a very young age to start dreaming about all the possibilities that are out there. I think a lot of times we leave it up to the media to teach our kids about what's out there for them. And so that's really my focus, is getting children to start dreaming about their futures and setting goals and go after their goals.
For more information on purchasing books, scheduling workshops, or becoming a sponsor, visit books.cdjgallery.com.